everybody, welcome to Happy Healthy You Special Edition. I'm Connie Bowman, here with my very favorite empowerment strategist. I've said it before. She's also a life coach, and she has a special interest and expertise in mindful eating and emotional eating. We've done a couple of podcasts together about that subject. And Julie, after the podcast, I happened to be listening to an audiobook by Judith Orloff, and she talked about the energy that we take on from others and how overeating can actually be a symptom. And I wanted to explore that a little more in depth with you, because I think a lot of us can relate to that. You know, we want to be empathic, we want to be compassionate and loving, but sometimes in our lives, the feelings of others can also be overwhelming to us. And so what do? We turn to food a lot of times. And Judith talked about that in her book, about how a lot of healers are overweight, and a lot of people use food for grounding and comfort. And what are some ways that we can avoid that? Because in our lives, it becomes a negative pattern that we want to avoid.
Absolutely. I think it's a very real topic that, you know, a lot probably of you deal with. I've personally dealt with this myself, using food to cope. I think it's a beautiful thing to be empathetic and compassionate. So I want to say that that's something that we don't want to lose. And we know that food is nourishment, it's comfort. It's one of the first things we do is maybe nurse and then eat. And we know that that's important to survival. It's when we start navigating in life and there are tough situations that come up, we all have that. And how do we navigate? How do we stay in life and feel and, you know, might be even more sensitive without turning to food to cope? So some strategies, because I think it's important to get really clear what are some things that you can do. One would be, first of all, awareness. If you're noticing yourself, you know, grabbing a box of cookies, or, you know, going to the freezer and getting ice cream every time you're feeling upset or sad or frustrated, any emotion, it could be happy too, and that's upsetting you. If that starts to, you know, frustrate you, you don't feel okay with that, that's an indication that it might be time to change. So one would be awareness is really important. Two would be that willingness to make a change. And, you know, this doesn't have to be, it could be fun. I mean, it really can be. You know, we're shifting patterns in our thoughts, and that does take practice and time. There's a lot of ways to make those changes. So three would be action.
Okay.
You know?
Before we go to action, I just want to say I love the way you said that, because being aware doesn't necessarily mean chastising ourselves and beating ourselves up about it. It's just becoming aware that there's something going on here, and saying, okay, stop, breathe. Yes. What can I do now to take action to make this right?
Exactly.
So it's being gentle with ourselves.
So beautifully said. And the thing to add with that that's so important is, if we're not gentle and we start going into shame and feeling, you know, that we're not doing it well, that's going to keep us stuck in the pattern. So it's really important to note that, you know, noticing without judgment, you know, that pause button, pausing, noticing what's happening. Maybe you feel it in your body. You know, maybe you wish you didn't eat a box of, you know, donuts or cookies. And, you know, we always have our next moment to make a change. Mm-hmm. So I love what you said. Exactly.
Just do the next right thing.
The next right thing, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So what are some of the actions we can take to get on the right path?
So some of the next right things, those actions, one would be what I think is just overlooked often because we forget about it, is our breath. We have a free, natural resource always with us. This is really important. When we start deep breathing, and I mean, you know, where you're consciously concentrating with intention on your breath. So if you want to close your eyes, we'll do a quick demo. So you're going to inhale, and you're going to fill your belly with breath. And then slowly exhale. You could do 2 count for inhale, 2 count for exhale. There's so many different types of breathing techniques.
Like they don't know how to breathe.
Right. And sometimes we don't. We breathe from our chest. You want to breathe from your belly. Right. But we breathe all the time. So it's free. It's always with you. So I would say breathing is a great one.
Okay.
2, I think a great technique and tool to have is journaling. This can look any way you want it to. It could be finding a fancy journal that you like. It could be on your, you know, if you're writing notes in an email, you could have sticky notes. I mean, really any way to get down your feelings. What happens with writing is that we get outside of, outside of our thoughts and we start to, stream of consciousness can come out. So maybe we don't even know why we're upset. I've had that before. I'm not even sure, and start writing, and and then let's see what happens. I feel, see what happens. Those are two great sentences to start with.
And the other thing about journaling that I love is you can look back on that journal and see where you were, and say, okay, that's now part of my history. I got through that. I'm now here on the other side, and it wasn't as big a deal as sometimes it's hard to see that when you're in the moment, but
exactly.
But journaling really helps keep track of that. So why don't we talk about your retreat now that you have coming up, where you'll be going into more depth with this.
Absolutely. So I got certified in the Am I Hungry Mindful Eating program, which was designed and created by Dr. Michelle May, who had her own experience with using food to cope. It's a nationally acclaimed program. You can always learn more at amihungry.com. And we'll be leading a weekend retreat actually this spring, April 25th to the 26th, with my friend and partner Robin at Maryland University of Integrative Health. And it's a weekend retreat to really dive into mindfulness, mindful eating, and really looking at what is going on when we're feeling like we want to reach for something to comfort, i.e. food to comfort, and how do we change our patterns, what does that look like, and then really practicing and playing with it.
Awesome. Beautiful, beautiful. So for more information about this and anything else with my favorite empowerment strategists, where can people find you?
Thank you. So for more information, you can go to my website, which is www.empowered-living.net.
Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you.
I love your work.
Thank you.
You guys
love
have
you.
love you too. Have a happy, healthy week.